casual sex. Maybe the girl wants a deeper commitment. Maybe the girl wants a soulmate.
Maybe the girl got a brother uptown with 9 inches of ding-dong knocking the bottom out your ass.
Shut up.
Yo, that's a scene from 1997, Booty Call with Vivica Fox, Jamie Foxx, Bernie Mac. And our guest today, this guy has become a staple on this show. He's guest hosted the show for us at times.
I have.
And we didn't pay him nothing.
Nothing.
But attention. He's a friend. He's someone that reaches out to me.
Yes, and me.
To check on our well-being. His resume is relentless. DB, would you?
Man, I was just watching Strictly Business the other day when he played Bobby, and I don't know, maybe Aoki and Wonder can agree with me, but when you watch a movie like Strictly Business, before you actually enter the working world, you look at that as sort of like, okay, so there's going to be a guy who's at the top, and there's going to be a guy who has to work their way up to that position, and you kind of identify with how Bobby was trying to make his way up out of the mailroom with Samuel L. Jackson, who was your boss.
Yes. that movie was compelling in a lot of ways. That was my first movie. Strictly Business. And I picked that for that reason. I picked it for that reason because to me it's like a science fiction movie, like Star Wars, and it's like science fiction because it's like black people working together. Right. So that's like science fiction. So yeah.
At that time.
Yeah. So you have a brother from the projects uptown, and then you have a brother from Denver somewhere he has an MBA and he's working corporate, and they get together and work with a black bank. Now if that ain't Star Wars, if that ain't science fiction. But I wanted to kind of speak it into existence. I wanted me to be the star of that.
Yeah.
But what's significant is it's where its hip hop roots are and what it means. Because Bobby was from New York City.
Nice and Smooth was with you in the staircase.
Nice and Smooth, and most significantly, the person that went around with me to get me ready for that role was Puff.
Right.
Did he?
So yeah, Puff took me to the building, Red Parrot. Octagon.
Wow.
He took me around.
He was with Uptown.
He was with Uptown. He wasn't even with. He was with Uptown. He was Andre's assistant
at that time.
He was my PA on the movie. Mm-hmm. So he was my assistant.
Wait a minute. Stop. Hold up. Hold up. First of all, we got Tommy Davidson here, ladies and gentlemen. He has a new book, his autobiography, Living in Color.
I can go a long way.
What's funny about me, it's an incredible book. We're actually going to do a sit-down conversation at Barnes & Noble's today at what time?
I think it's at 8.
7 o'clock, 7 p.m. At which bar?
Upper West Side.
Upper West Side Barnes & Nobles at 7 o'clock. We're going to talk about, this dude is so transparent in his book. It's there's some cringeworthy conversation in here. But look, put it in perspective. Diddy was at that time an assistant to Andre Harrell, and he was taking you around as a PA.
As a PA, he would take me to the set. He watched out for me. He took me to the set in the morning, picked me up at night and stuff like that. But he took me into the clubs. He showed me the leaders before they were even signed.
Leaders of the new school.
Before they were even signed.
That's Busta Rhymes' original group.
Tribe before they were signed. He said these are going to be the ones.
Tribe Called Quest.
They were like, these are the ones that's going to blow.
Diddy told you this.
Yeah. He said this guy Busta probably don't end up with them. It's either going to be him or C. Brown that blows. And so we were at the building, Red Parrot.
Crazy.
Back early days. Back early days. And that's when and Hev.
Heavy D.
Yeah, him and Hev would take me to the clubs and I got to know all the people. And then Jeff Redd did the You called and told me that you
and Jeff ended up being the exec at MCA.
Yeah.
He ended
Jeff
up
Redd
being an
did.
exec. Yeah, Mary, remember the Mary J. Blige story?
Oh, Mary J. Mary J had a joint on our soundtrack. And I was telling Andre, yo, you gotta put this joint in the movie. This girl right here, Mary, she's the joint. He was like, yeah.
What song was it? You Remind Me?
Yeah, You Remind Me.
So you got You Remind Me in the movie.
We got You Remind Me. It's not in the movie. I told him it was just on the soundtrack. I said, you got to put that in the movie. This girl right here is going to blow. Me and Halle listened to You Remind Me on the way to the...
When you say Halle, are you speaking of Halle Berry?
Halle Berry, yeah.
Come on, Tommy. You don't just be dropping names like that,
man. That's a funny story.
Talk about it.
That's a funny story right there, too. Well,
you got to go, man. Halle Berry. What's your relationship with her then? What is it now?
It was, I don't talk to her too much now. Okay. And she never mentioned Strictly Business. And that's the thing I don't really like, is that was her first movie. And, first AJ had it from House Party. She had the part, and then something didn't work out with her. So Halle came on as a newcomer, couldn't really act that well. And Kevin Hooks said, hey, we got to help her because she's the star of our movie now. So we stayed really, really close, almost too close at times.
What does that mean?
Kind of like, we entertained the thought of hanging out.
Going out?
Entertained the thought of it.
But y'all never did?
Never did.
You never kissed her?
Never kissed her.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
But I couldn't really go there and didn't want to go there because I had a lady at home with kids. And it was tension anyway because she was her roommate in Miss USA pageant. And she didn't like her at all. So as soon as Halle got the movie, she was like, I can't stand her. And I was like, well, she's starring in the movie, so.
Damn, small.
You know what I mean?
That was a small world.
So it was it was like kind of tension, what she say to you or whatever like that, So that was kind of there.
Okay.
And it played itself out, and we stayed friends for years, But the one thing is she never really acknowledged that movie since it was her first joint.
Maybe I mean, that's her prerogative.
Yeah, I mean, that's a prerogative.
Maybe it's because your ex at the time was giving her such a bad time.
Well, she never spoke to me again once I told. She spoke to me again, but it was like a different day when I told her who I was married to. So it was like, she kept saying, "Who is this girl? Who is this girl you married to? Who is this girl you married to? Who's this girl?" And I finally told her, and we were eating food at the little, the cafeteria or whatever. And she got up, left. It was never the same, really.
Oh wow!
You know what I mean?
So those two had issues.
Yeah,
you understand.
Women, women are a different, breed.
You talk about it in the book.
A wonderful breed. By the way.
Absolutely.
Can't live without them. I don't know, but this, live with them. Can't live without them. Well, that's all I'm gonna say.
You got a chapter called "White Women to the Rescue."
Yeah.
That's like the first in the front of the book.
Yes, right in front of the book. The white woman at Costco. It's like, what's going on back there? Somebody help us out here. Because black people don't know how to say word manager out loud. You ever seen a black person try to say manager out loud? Where manager at? we try to act like we ain't even say it. Tell manager come out here. The white woman's like, I got it.
Yeah.
This is bullshit. And the reason why I'm connected to that whole reality is because my mother's white.
Yeah.
And from Wyoming.
Your adopted mother.
Yeah, my adopted mother's white from Wyoming. And that's where the story begins.
Yeah. So can I say something? I didn't know that. I didn't know you were raised by a white couple, Barbara Davidson, who your adopted parents were like liberal activists. Fought for equality for all folks. They, they were part of the civil rights movement, correct?
Right. Time somebody did their homework about this book. Go.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. And your mother, your real mom, that gave birth to you, Tommy Jean.
Tommy Jean
was her name.
Who I'm named after. And
you didn't find that out till how old?
I was like 38 on the set of Woo with Halle. Well, on the set with Jada.
Yeah. Yeah, and so it took 38 years to find out who your real mom was. You found out from your adopted mom, who found you in the alley.
In the trash.
Yeah. Talk about that. Like, do people know you were abandoned, and is this common knowledge?
No, I've talked about it in interview shows and stuff like that, but like generally I never told anybody that because it's kind of like, different.
Yeah.
So I never really shared that. And plus I had so much tension growing up being black and my family being white and growing up in D.C. So I had a lot of problems growing up. Like it'd be a group of black girls that just decided they're going to whip my sister's ass. So I thought I'd beat 6 black girl ass. You know what I'm saying? Then the older black guys, me and my brother had to fight them. So I'm fighting all the time. So it was just something I was embarrassed when my mother would come to school because it was like, soon as black people find out that my family's white, they start trying to carry me. So it was hard. So I never really mentioned that because that was a problem for myself.
Yeah. How did you cope with that being black? Like, did you feel at any point, like I couldn't even imagine that conundrum. Like you got white siblings, you're black, and black folks are beating up your white siblings because they're white.
Right.
Did you feel like you betraying your people by fighting off the black people? Or
no, because it's my family and all I know.
Okay.
And all I know. So it took a little while. It took a little while for me to understand, in that who I was. And at times my sister, when I got jumped by black dudes, my sister helped me. So it's like, that's how I came up. I came up in D.C. and I came up here. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I dealt with that, but that was something that I really kept to myself, really, because I'm just who I am. So as finding out who I am as a black person, it took a while to find out what that really was too.
Okay.
Because I thought.
You thought you were white?
I thought I was brown.
Okay.
See, when I moved to D.C. it was in 1968 when I was 5.
Okay.
So we drove in, and I'm used to living. I lived in Wyoming and Colorado, so I lived in mountains, streams, and farms, and what have you. And when we moved to D.C., there's fires, stuff's on fire, tear gas, tanks, all kind of
riots.
Shit.
All kind of.
And so when we get there, if we finally settle into Northeast Washington, Trinidad, if people want to know, and we go to start to play with the kids. We go to the pool, and all the black kids were beating our ass the whole way home. You crazy?
Yeah.
The whole way home, every day. And they were saying white cracker and white cracker lover.
Yeah.
And I finally went to my mother and I said, why are they saying I love white crackers? Because I like graham crackers.
That's how ignorant you.
They're ignorant in that way, yeah.
In that way, yeah.
And that's the day that I found out that I was another color than them, other than brown. Because I said, well, what? She said, that's what people, when they don't like you, that are your color, when they don't like people our color, that's what they call them. And I said, what color is that? She said, black. You're black. And I was like, no, I'm brown.
Yeah.
And
you give a good he gives an analogy of how he thought in the book. He said, I looked at it like when you see a litter. And you see if an animal has a litter, the different puppies might come out different colors, but they from the same litter. And so you just felt like you was just another puppy.
But I'm a brown one.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Okay.
And so,
Shit.
But she said, no, you're black. You're black. You know what I mean? And I was like, no, I'm brown, but okay. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so we went and moved to the suburbs after that, and it was shortly after that. And all white. And that's the first time I heard the word nigga. Because grown men was chasing me home. Like I could be on the playground and I look up and it'd be like white boys, teenagers. Get that nigga, kill him. You know what I mean? And like I barely got in the house, and people were throwing stuff through our window and nigga this. And so I finally went to my mother and I said, who are these niggas? We got to stay away from them. They must be dangerous. And she said, that's what people call people your color when they don't like them. And I really didn't like that shit. So I'm really conflicted. Yeah. But I thank God we moved to Silver Spring, Maryland, which is a integrated neighborhood. And the nigga word came up again. Some teenagers chased me. This is the first time I realized, I am black. There were some black teenagers. As a matter of fact, I just seen one of them who was his brother, who was the dude who was with me that day. And there was some older black teenagers as I was running from these white boys. And the white boys saw them and ran the other way. And I've been black ever since that day.
There you go. Welcome home.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I've been black ever since that day.
You were black before that day.
Yeah.
You just didn't know it yet.
I knew it then.
But let's put this
in that sense.
Let's put this in perspective. This man was abandoned, left in the trash as an infant. The woman went looking for him, heard that because your mother was on drugs, right? She was drugged out and couldn't
have 4 kids already.
Yeah.
At 19, well, she was a side chick of a 50-year-old man who was married, had a family. He was an undertaker. So she was like, and on the street. So she just told me she got scared
and just left you on the street.
Left me with somebody. She didn't really know, but she left me with, and that's how it ended up.
She left you in the trash, and somebody discovered you.
Right.
That's a little different than leaving you with somebody.
Well, I mean, that's her story. I left you with somebody. I didn't know what happened to you, so you ended up there.
Okay.
All I know is that I ended up. The first thing she said to me when she met me for the first time, she said, I knew God was going to take care of you. I said, no, you didn't. No, you didn't, but thank God he did. So, but we got to the point where we got straight. Because when I saw her, when she finally told me what really happened.
38 years later.
She was on the floor. Looks like she was throwing up. Looks like she had a convulsion. She was like, this is what really happened. And I was able to forgive her. You know, forgiveness, I didn't know much about until the last recent probably 8 years, and how powerful it is. I'll tell you how powerful forgiveness is. If it didn't exist in the black community, we'd be at war with white people to this moment. That's how powerful it is. That's how
powerful it is.
After 400 years of what we went through, not to be fighting this second, forgiveness is powerful. You see what I'm saying? And so that's what really freed me up of that whole thing.
When did that happen? What year did you finally come to a point of forgiveness? Like how many? You said 8 years ago?
That was then.
That was then. Okay.
When that happened, I could forgive her.
Let's put things in context here. It's 1973 when people were chasing you, and chasing your family members because they were white.
That was 70s,
in the 70s.
68, and then the other one happened in like 70.
So we're talking. There was a lot of unrest in the country at that time. Heather, you heard me say this. Like where I was growing up, that used to happen in Oakland. If you was a white kid, you was gonna get a bloody nose.
Okay, 357. Go ahead.
Yeah, you know, way before they came out. But that was just the climate because it's trickling down from what we were seeing in the civil rights movement, and people were angry, and and there was a lot of distrust for the white community in the Black
Panther City.
Yeah, I'm from Oakland, so things would happen. And so. You speak about forgiveness. This book unveils so much. I learned so much about. I didn't realize how much stand up you did prior to becoming, known as Tommy Davidson. Who's Anthony Reed?
Anthony Reed is me. Tony, known by the family. But what happened was when I was adopted. She had took me back to Fort Collins, Colorado, and didn't really legally have me. So you have to wait for the state to clear it or whatever. So on my birth certificate, it was Anthony Reed. So she took the name Tommy, who's my mother, and then her name Davidson, and that's who Tommy Davidson is.
How did she know that your mom's name was Tommy?
She knew her from before. Like she had been there a year before I was abandoned, and they were there. Her and her husband at the time were there. Immunizing children and doing voting drives for the civil rights movement because they had heard Kennedy on TV say, if this time in America, can you look back and say that you did something about the race relations? And they heard that on TV. And so they went down to Greenville, Mississippi, which is one of the poorest places in the country, and did that kind of work and met her during that time. Wow. So they came back through that town, just coming back to visit or whatever, and she said, where's Tommy Jean? And they said, she's gone. She left. But I think she left her baby at such and such's house. So when she went over there, it was an abandoned house. Kids was doing drugs in there. Teenagers were doing drugs. She said when she was leaving the house, she was like, whoa, I got to get out of here. There was a trash pile on the side of the house. And she said, something told me to look under this tire that was on top of the trash. And she said, I moved the trash and your foot was there sticking out. And she said, when I moved the trash out the way, you had a shirt on. You were unconscious. And you had a shirt on. This is crazy. You had a shirt on that said, in 20 whatever, I'll be president. But the zero part was torn. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so, I was unconscious, malnourished. I had contusions in my skull. They thought I was going to die. I went to the hospital for like 60 days, and I lived. And so here I am.
Tommy Davidson. Come on, this is all in the book. This is just the first couple of chapters, too, by the way. We ain't even moved into how, he got into comedy. HB, you want to say?
They asking for a time check with Tommy Davidson. He has a heart out.
Oh, you do?
I do.
What's his heart out?
5 minutes.
Oh,
really?
Shit.
Just we doing live radio, citizens. I'm sorry, Sway. Yeah, this is live radio. He has a heart out.
I do? But I got you tonight.
Okay. We just a prelude to tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, we got you.
Yeah.
Tell them what it's me and you.
Yeah, it's just
and we've been waiting.
Yeah. That's gonna be.
We've been waiting for that.
Well, Sway brought up a good point that I just wanted to say.
Let's roll through it.
We're really good friends with Donnell Rawlins here, and Donnell Rawlins is from the DMV area, and I remember your name coming up in a conversation years ago, and Donnell said so many comedians did not understand what you were trying to do in the DMV area, that you broke a lot of ground. You open a lot of doors for comedians to do what they do. And when you sit and think about the number of comedians that come from that area, Monique, just so many people, Martin and Joe Claire, Dave, like just so many people come from that area. Donnell said a lot of it was because of what you did. You laid the groundwork years ago, and we just didn't know that.
Yeah, I was able to make that jump to Hollywood. So what I did was I met a brother here, Sinclair Jones, at the Apollo.
Sinclair.
Yeah, Sinclair Jones, and I freaked the Apollo. That's when it was a real show. You wasn't looking for the clown dude because he never came out because everybody was good. You know, and I won that, and won it, and he came to me and he said, "Look, would you go out to Hollywood with me for a week? If you like it, I want to manage you." So I went out there and I like slam dunk with both hands on everybody, Eddie Murphy, whoever was there. It was like I left the joint on fire. So we packed up the Nissan Sentra and drove out to L.A. when nobody was there. Nobody was in L.A. yet. Nobody.
Wow.
But me, Eddie Murphy, Sinbad, and the older cats, Damon and all those guys.
The Keenan.
So the rest came later.
Robert Townsend.
Yeah, the rest came later.
Yeah.
So there, got an apartment, worked, deliver mail or whatever. And for 3 solid years, just hit the clubs. And I hit all the white clubs, and they were like, the
Laugh Factory.
You're not what we want.
Yeah.
You're not what we're looking for.
The Comedy Store?
Yeah, you're not what we're looking for and all of this stuff. And broke open in TV and broke open in that stuff. As a matter of fact, at the Comedy Store, Mitzi didn't let me in the main stage for 3 years. But when I finally got on the main stage, I performed on a Friday and Saturday with Eddie Murphy and Richard Pryor.
You opened up for him?
No. We all had the same time. I went between them.
What?
I went between them.
You went between?
I went between them.
What?
So, yeah, Friday night show, right, was Eddie first, me second, Richard Pryor. Then the second show was Richard first, me then, and then Eddie for 4 shows, right? Kicked their ass.
Kicked whose ass? The crowd or Eddie and Richard?
Well, I'm not going to say I kicked their ass.
Okay.
Their ass.
Okay.
But you couldn't tell the difference. You couldn't tell the difference.
Okay.
Okay. And now here go the ultimate compliment. So I'm in a little corner, right? In a little closet. So they had the big green room had all the chicks, the food. We all the stars are in there.
The coke.
Right. Exactly.
Cocaine.
Right. Obviously, right. The coke, the hose, all that. Yeah. You know what it is. At the same time.
Yeah.
So Pryor comes out of the room and out to this little closet, like me and Sinclair, and he shook his head. He looked at me like I was some animal or something from space. He shook his head and he looked me up and down. He never met me. He said, "You's a funny motherfucker," and walked away.
That's the ultimate dude.
And I called my mother. I was like, "Hey, guess what you called me?" She said, "Oh, baby, I knew you was gonna do good."
I want to ask this on this show. I know he got to go. Because we're going to touch on it later. In this book, you talk very openly about your relationships with different folks you met along the way and where they stand now. Obviously, a lot of folks are talking about the commentary you made about Jamie Foxx, which you've talked to us about on this show a long time ago. In it, and I'm paraphrasing, you imply that Jamie you felt like he always wanted to steal scenes. You said that he was even aggressive with you in a basketball game, and is this your interpretation? Do you think Jamie would see it the same way, or was it just? Did you think was it a competitive thing, and he felt like you was in his way, or how did you feel? What did you think it was?
You know what? I never really knew. I never really surmised what it was. You know what I mean? All I know is that it happened and that it hurt me. You know, that he would go to that extreme, to actually physically hurt me, over a basketball game or whatever. So, with all due respect to him, it happened. But the part that they left out in the book is how beautiful I think of a human being he is.
Okay.
I love that dude.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing that makes you feel, that's the thing that hurts about us, black folks.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You know, we can be in the same atmosphere, and we can have a mutual benefit out of being together. It's a movie. So it benefits both of us if we do well. You see what I'm saying? So what hurt me was like, dude, like, come on, man. Like, if we both do well, we'll both do well.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So it was that type of behavior that hurt me. But this is not pointed at Jamie.
Yeah.
This is my book.
Uh-huh.
This is just one of the events. I'm showing the events in my life.
Yeah.
That took place.
That's not targeting Jamie.
Right. That took place where we all run into these barriers where people can hold you back.
Mm-hmm.
Jamie's story is not important as the bus driver story that's in the book that left me at the bus stop.
Mm-hmm.
I used to have to be at work at a certain time, and in February I'd be out there in the snow, okay? And I had to leave high school half a day so I could go to this job, okay? And I needed that job because I wanted to get in community college, and it was stuck to that. So I had to stand at that bus stop, and I had to be to work, and every day that bus driver, that white boy, every day looked me right in the face and left me standing there. And I had to find my way to work, and I was late every day. And lucky my manager was cool. You know what I'm saying? And then finally, another bus driver took over that route, but he left me every day. So he's not as significant as that.
Yeah. But we all know Jamie.
Yeah, I'm just showing. Yeah.
You want to give context to it.
Yeah.
But like I said, we all know him. But you talked about forgiveness, and how you had to find forgiveness from your mother.
That's cool. Yeah.
And you understood the power of forgiveness. Is now you and Jamie don't talk when y'all see each other.
We do.
Okay.
I see him, and we're cool.
Okay,
cool.
so
me and Jamie are cool.
Y'all cool.
But the bottom line is that you know, people do whatever they do for whatever their reasons are. You know, and it's not an eye for an eye.
Yeah.
I don't do that. If the whole world went an eye for an eye, then all of us couldn't see. Everybody be blind. So there got to be something to turning the cheek. But I remember the movie Amistad. You know what I'm saying?
Give us free.
And it's not about him. It's about the way society puts us in situations where we think we have to take something from somebody. So this poor guy is in the bottom of a slave ship, and they only putting one scoop of oatmeal in everybody's palm of their hands, and it's all everybody got. And so the person next to you has to try to get it from you because you have to feed yourself. And that behavior and that consciousness still exists in our subconscious because 400 years of that kind of instilled behavior is not going to go away in one day. The most important thing is I don't care about what happened, the incident with me and Jamie.
Yeah.
Because I love him as a person, and he's a beautiful guy. And it's his success, man, amazing success. The important thing is that we now can point this out in now's reality, and that's what's important about this book.
The how hard is it for you as the author of this book, this autobiography about your life, working with a publisher who wants to make sure that all the drama and controversy is in it, and let's not even spell it out. Let's leave it out of context so when people read it, they go, what? There's beef with Jamie Foxx? Did this come out the way you wanted it to, or was there some edits and things done to kind of give it that energy, you know?
You know what? I have, acceptance. Acceptance of the way things are, and then trust and faith is the only thing that pushes you forward, I've learned in life, So the powers that be, whether they be racism, racism isn't a wasm, it's an ism, and it's always going to be. That means it's now kind of thing. Then there'll be the systems in place. You know what I mean? And the powers that be are, have controlled some of the material that are in there. But the bottom line is that, nothing can stop the truth. Nothing can stop the truth. Now, I can't do anything about what others do.
Yeah.
But the truth always rises. Like you can walk down. You ever walk down the sidewalk? And like there's a crack in the sidewalk, it's cement everywhere, and there's like a little piece of grass shooting up from there.
That's the truth.
Can nothing stop it? It's gonna be there no matter what.
Tommy Davidson, he has another interview. Living in Color, What's Funny About Me. Join us at Barnes & Noble's tonight. Join us at Barnes & Noble tonight on the Upper West Side.
Yeah.
We're going to be there. Get there at 6 o'clock. Get there early. No later than 6:30.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll sit down and talk more about this book. A lot to uncover. Jamie Foxx is just one of the stories of people we love. You talk about in Living Color that you go inside in ways that we all want to hear. You know?
And I'm glad I'm first.
Yes.
I'm glad I'm the first to have the book.
Uh-huh.
Because I can really, really give y'all some real insight.
Thank you, Tommy Davis.